What's up, guys? Garage Goons episode 8. We're doing boxing this time. Sorry, I've been less active lately. A lot of things have been going on in my life. I got engaged, so that's huge. Um, awesome. I'm just, got a lot of stuff going on with the planning. My fiance got sick, so I've been taking care of her or trying to when she'll allow me to help her. And, work, life happens, man, but I'm going to start getting more active on here again. It's middle of football season. Uh you got basketball. I know we're in a little bit of a break right now, but basketball's going to be ramping up here soon. And you got baseball coming. You got hold on. Of course. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Um and UFC full throttle. You got a lot of, you had Span versus Smith tonight. That was a hell of a main event. I thought Smith was in trouble, and man, he's got that nickname Lionheart for a reason, because that guy just refuses to die, even with Glover Teixeira knocking his teeth out of his skull. Uh, just basically didn't quit. He's the truth, man. I mean, not the most talented guy at 205, but I think he weighs 205, and the only reason why he can't make 185 anymore is because he's got a 30-pound set of balls on him. But we're here to talk today about Wilder versus Fury 3. It's happening October 9th. So quick breakdown if you guys aren't big boxing fans. I only recently got into boxing, I would say in the last 5 years, and I watched a lot of it when I was a kid. My dad was a big boxing fan. I saw Holyfield Tyson. I saw, a little bit of Lennox Lewis. I saw, the exciting Klitschko and the boring Klitschko. And then I stopped watching for a while because Klitschko, Vladimir, not Vitaly. Vitaly was amazing to watch, but Vladimir had a good 10-year run of just jab and grab. And listen, anytime you're fighting in the heavyweight division, and how do I put this? Like, you're not considered a knockout artist, or you're not considered a threat for that home run hit on any given day, that's just not a good recipe for boxing. I mean, even the likes of, let's take a really light heavyweight boxer in Muhammad Ali, right? The greatest of all time, or arguably the greatest of all time. Not a power puncher, but you look at his record and he's putting guys away. Klitschko, man, he was outpointing guys, and it was getting harder and harder to watch, especially after Lennox Lewis retired. I mean, after that, it was just kind of, I'm done with this. So that's how I viewed it. But then my buddy told me, hey, man, Tyler, I know you're a UFC guy, but have you seen this Deontay Wilder guy? All he does is knock guys out. And so the first Deontay Wilder fight, I got to admit, was in 2015 that I watched. And it was him against Stavern. Stavern is this big, tough Haitian dude that kind of came along in a time where Klitschko was a draw, but only in that he was the champion for so long. He just doesn't have a personality. He doesn't sell fights. It was a long, arduous, boring time in heavyweight boxing. And the only way you could kind of get around him is go for one of these belts that people sort of care about. So the Ring Magazine belt was the belt that Stavern held, which actually has more gravitas to it in the past 10, 15, 20-ish years. But it's not one of the big belts, right? You got WBC, you got, WBO and IBF or something like that. And those are the ones that guys want. Those are the Muhammad Ali belts. Those are the George Foreman, Mike Tyson, the list goes on, Floyd Mayweather belts that are so coveted. And I watched him and was promised a knockout. And the first time they fought, I didn't see a knockout. And I just saw this really athletic, violent kid that to be honest, and I'm not a boxer, right? I have a amateur mixed martial arts background 10 years ago. Used to compete, but my boxing skills were decent for being an amateur in the cage, but nowhere near boxing. Very, very rudimentary stuff for boxing. But, I feel like, I've watched enough combat sports to kind of know when a guy has good boxing skills. It puts together combinations, good head movement, the footwork is on point. And I didn't see any of that from this guy. What I saw was a 6'6" dude that looks like he plays like a receiver in the NFL or like a basketball player. Like he has like like a Kobe Bryant build. Remember when Kobe Bryant, like, I don't know, maybe like 2009 or something, when they weren't doing so hot, Shaq had been gone for a while and they were just kind of sputtering, trying to make playoffs year in and year out. And Luke Walton and these jokers were around him. And he said, I have to play the 3 now. So he put on like 25, 30 pounds and he started walking around at like 220. That's how Deontay Wilder's built. And he's very long. He's very cut, but like he doesn't look like he lifts. He looks like one of those guys that like just year round, in great shape, good genetics, obviously works hard on cardio, obviously like takes care of himself and eats right, but like doesn't really look like he's doing crazy things in the gym as far as the iron goes. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't look like Anthony Joshua, like a Greek god, one of these guys that's super buff or like super just husky and big and just thick, like Brock Lesnar, back to chest, like 3 feet wide, he's very lean, man. He doesn't look like he's built for heavyweight boxing. I'm not going to say he doesn't look like he's built for boxing because having a good reach and being athletic is a great recipe to be a boxer, but a heavyweight boxer is a different animal. Those guys just, they got calves the size of tree trunks and especially nowadays when guys are weighing in close to the limit, 250 and up, it's not like before where you have, Rocky Marciano fighting at 189 pounds and just, drinking wine, eating steak, and the heaviest thing he lifts is a beer can. We're not doing that anymore. These guys are world-class athletes. The first fight, Wilder and Fury. Wilder's that guy, and Fury is this legendary kid, loudmouth. Remember that guy Klitschko I was talking to you about? If you don't know anything about boxing, I'm going to fill you in. If you know about boxing, bear with me because you're like, we know Klitschko, duh. Like, arguably one of the most great, boring heavyweights of all time. Yeah, okay, let me just walk you through it. Klitschko went on like a 10-year undefeated run after Lennox Lewis cut him open and there was a ref stoppage. And he just seemed like this really boring, calculated guy that just had the technique that was infallible. Like guys couldn't figure it out. He was a little bit longer than everyone. He's like 6'5", 6'6", long, athletic, well-built, not like his brother, really strong and tough and nasty. Stayed long the whole time, doesn't throw many looping punches, gets out of range, decent chin on him. The guy's just, he was like, I want to say like B+ at everything, but like A+++ at jab and grab, meaning stay long, throw the jab, and then if they come in close, grab onto him. Because, he's a big dude, but he wasn't filling out the weight, heavyweight limit. He was fighting at, 230, 240. This kid, this loudmouth kid from Britain, they call him the Gypsy King. He's just talking a whole bunch of shit. He's, saying he doesn't give a damn about boxing. In one interview, in the next interview, he's like, my whole life I've been dreaming of getting this heavyweight belt. It was this weird, I don't know. There was no lightning rods in heavyweight boxing at the time, but this weird kid that just built like a balloon filled with peanut butter, man, just all jiggly, and it just looked like he was huge. First of all, he was 6'9", had the ultimate dad bod. You can Google him now, and he never had abs, really, at least not to my knowledge. Just did enough work to get under the heavyweight limit to make the weight and huge guy, 6'9", like I said. And he comes in and he's got all this flair and he's breathing life into the heavyweight division, and he fights Klitschko. And it doesn't end in a knockout, but it's just this weird. The whole time he's saying, I'm going to knock him out, I'm going to retire you, get rid of the most boring aspect of heavyweight boxing. And a lot of guys, he was on the come up, but you know when like divisions get cleared out, and so there's no like long-standing good dude with a really good resume that's beaten all these names because they've already fought that guy. So now they're reaching. They're just anybody that has a winning streak that can generate a little bit of draw. They're fighting Klitschko because Klitschko had already cleared out the division, and heavyweight boxing was just dead, man. So dead. This kid comes in talking so much smack, talking about you're not going to be able to go back to your country, man. Putin's going to off you, all this stuff. And you're the most boring fighter in boxing history, and jab and grab style is unbearable. And he gets in there and he beats him. And it's not a knockout like he was telling people. They both actually have a kind of similar style. I think Klitschko hits a little bit harder, and I think obviously being 6'9", Fury is able to stay longer. So Klitschko's unfamiliar with guys that are able to be longer than him because he's always usually the taller guy. They get in there. It's a back and forth. It's a really boring fight. I got to be honest. Klitschko hits him a couple times early, and later on, he just he has this really weird herky-jerky back and forth style where he's like slithering around, and it's really hard to explain, but it's just weird seeing a big, like flabby fat dude moving that statically all the time at 6'9". It just doesn't look like he should be able to move that way, but he does. He's actually surprisingly elusive for how giant he is. He's a freaking, if he wasn't a boxer, he might be a basketball player, but most likely with that build and how he looks, he would just be a big friggin' dude. He fights Klitschko. He wins. There's a scheduled rematch, and it gets pushed back. There's all this media attention around it, and he wins again. And both of them are decisions, and both of them are relatively boring fights. Both of them have this like stay long jab and grab style. There's a couple points in the second fight where Fury really puts it on him, and he comes away with the belt, and at 27 years old, I believe, 27. So still in the prime of his athletic career, if you can call him an athlete. You have to call him an athlete. He's a world heavyweight champion, but just God, he doesn't look like one. He retires, and he goes away for 3 years. And in this 3 years, from the ashes, Deontay Wilder rises like a phoenix. There's this other guy that's really pretty and really buff and looks like he's an Avenger or something like that, built like Black Thor, named Anthony Joshua. And they just keep flirting back and forth. Oh, you won't fight me. Money this, money that. All the games they play when they want to fight each other, but they don't want to fight each other because it's going to potentially, someone's not going to have an undefeated record after the fact. Well, Deontay Wilder gets tired of playing the game. Deontay Wilder's camp sends Anthony Joshua, who's the other guy at the time because Fury's gone, who has all the other belts, and Fury has one. And Fury keeps calling him out and says, I will fight you in England for a 50-50 split. And I know in the UK, it's hard to believe this, right? Because Anthony Joshua is a bigger star over there. But I think in the US, pay-per-view wise, Deontay Wilder is doing a better job selling fights. He's a better trash talker. He's more electric. He's funny. He's good in interviews. He's also a decent looking dude. And it just never comes to fruition. So then Deontay Wilder gets tired of it, and he calls out Tyson Fury. And Fury's still in retirement. And Fury also, there's pictures that surface that shows him weighing over 300 pounds. And I know what you're thinking. Tyler, 6'9". He should be well over 300 pounds. Well, this guy is not 6'9", 300, built like a gladiator. This guy is 6'9", 300, built like I said, a tub of peanut butter, like a balloon filled with jelly. I don't know what you want to call it. Just like a really shaky, flabby, fat guy. And he gets motivated and loses over 100 pounds of weight to get back in the shape he needs to be to fight at heavyweight. And Fury says, okay, I'll fight you, Wilder, but I need a couple tune-up fights. So he fights some Russian dude. They found that, man, he was undefeated, don't get me wrong, but the guy he fought for his tune-up fight was like the highlights that they were showing for his tape to try to hype up the fight, because you clearly never heard of him, looked like homeboy fought in the YMCA. Okay, this guy's not selling out arenas. This guy's not even filling out, tennis court size stadiums, nothing. He can't even sell out a, Indian casino, pachanga. He's fighting. I don't even know. These fights look wonky as hell, man. So he puts him away, as he should. It probably takes a little bit longer than people expect. Fury gets rid of him in like the 4th or 5th round, something like that. And then, the hype and the buildup starts between the two. And the first fight a year later, something like that, happens. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. This is really going to determine, because Anthony Joshua is playing games, who's the best heavyweight in the world? Who is it? And the way I scored the fight, a lot of people said there's no way it should have been a draw. And I tend to disagree, because I gave 2 10-8 rounds to Deontay, and I gave about 7 rounds to Fury. So if you just do the math, that's a 50-50 fight right there. One guy's got 2 more rounds, but the other guy's got 10-8 rounds because Deontay Wilder knocked Fury down a couple of times. And there's something funny happened in the 9th round. This is the other 10-8 round. Fury's outboxing him. Fury's getting a little cocky. Fury's, sticking the jab out, doing all this stuff. Deontay just lunges in, and Deontay, he's known for his wild style. He throws wild looping punches, jumping at guys forward. I mean, this is definitely not the textbook stuff they teach you in the boxing gym. This guy swings really hard, and when he connects, he just has the touch of God, man. That right hand has put everybody. Let me just preface this by saying he had damn near 40 fights, the first time they fought, and all of them but one, the one I ended up watching in 2015, ended in knockout. So this guy has a Tyson-like resume, maybe not with the names, but just sheerly knocking guys out, putting them out, turning the lights off. This guy sleeps everyone. And he lands this nasty punch. And I was sure the way Tyson Fury fell, straight back, lights out, eyes rolled in the back of his head. The ref is counting, and he's still on the ground at 8. And at 9, he gets up like a zombie rising from the fucking dead. And the ref's like, "Are you sure? I thought you died." And he's like, "Yes, I'm sure." And he's like, "Do you want to continue?" He's like, "Yes, I want to continue." And he finished the fight. And by the way, he won the rest of the rounds. And it went to decision, ended up being a draw. That was really impressive. I also think that 10 count was like one and a half. It was like a Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson thing. You could watch it back. It was really close, man. It was every bit of that 10 seconds. I guarantee you, if you take out your stopwatch and you time from when he hits the canvas to when he's back all the way erect, I guarantee you it's over 10 seconds. But hey, it's not an exact science. They're not in there. The refs aren't in there with a stopwatch when guys hit the mat. They have to count out loud, and some guys do 1 Mississippi and some guys do 1 apple, and you just got to live with whatever the ref does. So it's interesting. The narrative going into fight number 2 is one guy is clearly the better boxer. That's Tyson Fury. And then the other guy is the only guy in the ring between the two of them that's capable of hurting the other one based off of what we saw. So it's exciting. Everyone likes styles clashing. Everyone will, like the old UFC days. Who's going to win, the boxer or the wrestler? Who's going to win, the karate guy or the jiu-jitsu guy? We found out early on it was jiu-jitsu. And in the rematch, we were going to find out, is Deontay Wilder's power, because he only needs to land 1, going to win him the fight, or is Fury going to be able to put a game plan together to be able to outbox him? So there's a lot of hype. It's great. Everyone's eating it up. Joshua's sitting there sad in the corner fighting, losing fights to Andy Ruiz and stuff. And, he got his rematch and won, but whatever. This could have been paid off. Who knows? Anyways, the narrative was, what style is going to win? The heavy hitter or the technician? The flabby technician or the skinny heavy hitter? I know it's really weird. You think the big guy is going to be the powerful one, but not in this case. So fight 2 happens. Deontay Wilder just was on his heels the whole time, kind of staying long. I don't know if the game plan was, hey, stay on the outside and then jump in and fire a big shot and see if you can rock him and see how he reacts. And I think they thought Fury was going to stay away from him, right? If you're the 6'9" guy and you got hurt by the 6'6" guy, you have reach and size on him, you just stay away. You pump your jab. You got a better jab, a longer jab, a better footwork. You just get on your bike and just run away from him for 12 rounds. And then whenever he gets close, hit him with the 1-2 and then exit the pocket again so he can't hit you back. And I think Fury was counting on that because he bum rushed him. He was in his face. Every time Deontay tried to get off one of his punches, he got grabbed by Fury and bear hugged. And then Fury starts hurting him. He's hurting him with jabs. He's hurting him with straight shots. He's landing shots to Deontay Wilder's head that it's weird because Wilder has taken shots from nastier dudes. I mean, he fights Luis Ortiz twice, and the first time got rocked by Luis Ortiz and comes back and gets a knockout. Fury is not known for being a knockout artist. He has mostly knockouts on his resume, but he also is the biggest and heaviest heavyweight boxer in the history of heavyweight boxing that was any good. Most guys that are just big like that are just big lumbering doofs. This guy actually can move. He looks weird, dude. It looks so weird, man. It looks so strange seeing all that mass and flab moving as elusively as he does, and he's able to get out of the way. Watch his highlights. He looks like he moves like a middleweight in there, but it's just got all this flab attached to it. He just gets in his face and leans on him and wears him out and then knocks him out in like the 7th round. And Deontay did nothing. He couldn't figure it out. He's like, I thought he was going to stay on the outside. He's bum rushing me. I thought I could hurt him with a big punch. He's grabbing me. I thought, he wasn't going to try to get in close, and he's literally putting his body weight against the ropes. And by the way, the second fight, he's got to weigh close to 300 pounds. He looks huge. He weighs in at the heavyweight limit. He weighs close to 300 pounds. He looks ginormous. So now here we are. October 9th is the new fight, the 3rd fight to settle it all, supposedly. Deontay Wilder made a whole bevy of excuses. Oh, my suit that I wore that was, studded in diamonds and all this stuff was too heavy, so my legs were shot. Oh, Fury, even though my team watched them, wrap his hands and looked at his gloves, took the padding out of his gloves. Oh, this, that, and the third. I don't know. I don't know. I don't buy into boxing. First of all, boxing is the most corrupt sport ever. I believe anytime there's a fix in, it's going to be happening with the judges because you can't pay these guys. There's no mafia telling these guys you got to lose fights anymore. That's just not a thing. But definitely these big time promoters that have hundreds of millions of dollars are lining the pockets of judges all the time. Canelo Triple G1 is a perfect example of that. The 3rd fight, I think the keys to winning are Tyson Fury has to lean on him a lot again. Tyson Fury has to jab and Tyson Fury has to grab. And then when Deontay gets tired because Tyson Fury weighs 60 more pounds than him on any given day, because Deontay Wilder only clocks in at about 230 at his heaviest, then he just hits him in the head enough times and physics takes over at a certain point. When you're that huge, you're going to knock guys out, even if you're not a heavy hitter, just because it's so much mass coming at you. Deontay Wilder needs to find the fire that he had for Luis Ortiz 1. He needs to come in heavy, and I hope he's been hitting weights. I have Fury winning that fight. I think it goes to decision this time. I don't think Fury gets a knockout. But let me preface this by saying I'm a Deontay Wilder fan. He got me back into heavyweight boxing. He's the most exciting guy in the press conference. He knows how to sell fights. He's charismatic. He's good looking. He's funny. He speaks well. His personality is infectious. He seems like a really intelligent guy, really intuitive guy, passionate. And he's more exciting to watch. He knocks guys unconscious. You guys, Google, if you have no idea who I'm talking about right now, Google Deontay Wilder highlights after this. You'll be amazed with some of the stuff he's done to people. It's insane. So I think what he needs to do is wait for his shots, jab a lot more than he did, because you can get grabbed if you overcommit on a punch and miss. But if you jab and miss, you probably won't get grabbed. And he's the more athletic one of the two, as far as, just being a good athlete. I think the footwork is in Fury's favor, but anytime you're that big, you could have the best footwork in the world. But if Deontay Wilder works his footwork a little bit more, he's more athletic, and he needs to be more static. He needs to get in and out of the pocket, in and out of the pocket. He needs to move more fluidly, and he needs to hunt for that big right hand. He cannot let Fury grab him. He cannot let Fury lean on him. He cannot let Fury dictate the pace and crowd him. He is a big puncher, but he is not a big compact puncher the way that Tyson was. He's a big long puncher. And so I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great fight. October 9th. Stay tuned. I'm definitely going to be watching that one. Maybe we'll do some post-fight analysis. But I think definitely Fury is still the better boxer, and Wilder is still in the heavyweight division the scariest, craziest puncher. So I'm hoping Wilder wins, but if he doesn't, the road is, Wilder is going to have to do some major rebounding. He's going to have to fight, Andy Ruiz or Joshua Parker, one of these guys that's like not going to sell many pay-per-views. And I think, he's 35 years old too. People think he's younger than he is because he started late in his mid-20s, but he's 35 years old now. So Tyson Fury is actually the younger guy, even though he looks like he's 54. And Tyson Fury is obviously going to fight Joshua next, unless he loses to Deontay. Then we'll see. Maybe we'll get a fourth one, but I doubt it. Yeah, Deontay, you got to find that punch, man. Get your space and find that punch. Don't let him crowd you. Fury, you know what to do, man. Lean on him, jab and grab, put him away late when he's tired and he's, over carrying all that body weight. And Wilder, if you lose, man, just say, hey, man, he's the better fighter. I'm going to come back stronger. Stop with the excuses, man. Even if they're legitimate excuses, nobody likes to hear excuses. All right. So that's my breakdown. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who you got winning? How is it going to happen? Is it going to go the distance? Will there be a knockout? Is Fury just way better than Wilder? Is he going to fight Joshua after? Is he going to retire? Is Wilder going to get the knockout this time? Do you think Fury cheated? Let me know. All right, man. Garage Goons, the most trash show on YouTube. Can't say it enough. We are absolute trash. Thanks for watching. First boxing episode. We might have a special guest do some boxing analysis with me, because I am, not an expert, but I just have a few fighters that I follow, and Fury and Wilder are a couple of them. All right, man. Peace out. Garage Goons, most trash show. We are out.